Okay, I'll go straight into the agenda. Part 1, item 1 is to appoint a chairperson. I'll be chairing this afternoon's meeting. Item 2 are chairperson's announcements. I don't have any. Item 3, welcome you all to this afternoon's cabinet meeting. And I'll ask Jane to conduct a roll call, please.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Clement Williams.
Yes, I'm here, Jane.
Councillor Doreen Jones.
I'm here, Jane.
Councillor Leanne Jones. Councillor Leanne Jones.
Sorry, Jane, I couldn't turn my mic
That's
off.
okay.
Present, Jane.
I can see you, Councillor Latham. I mark you as present. Councillor Lockyer.
Thank you, Jane.
Present, Jane.
Councillor Rees.
Here, Jane.
Councillor Richards.
Present, Jane.
Councillor Wingrave.
I can't unmute.
That's okay. Councillor Harvey.
Yeah, I'm here, Jane.
I think that's all members.
Councillor Rahman's here, I think, Jane, as well.
Councillor Rahman. Are you present?
Jane, he is here. He's just on hold for some reason. I'll keep you updated.
Thank you, Charlotte. If I go to officers, Karen Jones.
Present.
Craig Griffiths.
Present.
Howell Jenkins.
Present.
Andrew Jarrett.
Present, Jane.
Nicola Pierce.
Present.
Alid Evans.
Present.
Andrew Thomas.
Present.
Charlotte Davis.
Present.
Is there anyone else participating that I've missed off the roll call?
I'm here, Jane. Oh, sorry.
No,
Who? Thank you. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. There we are, Chair. The roll call is now completed.
Okay, thanks, Jane. Next item on the agenda is any declarations of interest from members. Councillor Harvey.
Yeah, I think I need to declare in this meeting, Craig.
Oh, yeah, I was on mute then. Yes, absolutely. If you can give the same declaration as you gave in the previous scrutiny meeting, please, Councillor Harvey.
Yeah, item 10 it mentions CCTV and also the childcare offer for funding for Abbey Primary School. With the CCTV, I work for South Wales Police, and also it mentioned page 82 CCTV there. So obviously I work for South Wales Police, so that's why I'm declaring there. And obviously I'm chair of governors for Abbey Primary School in respect of the childcare offer. And item 11, it mentions the Police and Crime Commissioner has mentioned regarding the council tax, again, is to do with myself working for South Wales Police. So thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Got them noted, Jane, yeah?
Yes, Chair, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on then, item 5, the minutes of the meeting which was held on the 24th of February. They're there on pages 3 to 4. Can I just check, are these for noting or have they got to be accepted?
They've got to be approved, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. I move approval.
Second.
Thank you. Are we all happy with that?
Yeah,
Don't
see, I can see no indications, Chair, so that's
Okay.
been approved.
Thank you very much. Item 6 is the forward work programme for 2021 to 2022. They're on pages 5 to 14. You're happy with them? Anything to add to that, Jane?
No, it's just for noting, Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay, item 7 is the Aero development report on pages 15 to 26. Anything to add, Mr. Evans or any officers?
Nothing, Chair.
No, nothing for me to add either, Chair.
Okay, Councillor Peter Rees.
Just to mention, Nigel and Councillor Nigel and asked the direct question of were we satisfied with our decision to leave. I want to just say emphatically, because we weren't getting good service from Aero, we were providing all the support that our schools needed. And as the director outlined, the support that they've had has ensured that the quality of education in Neath Talbot far exceeds many other authorities. So I just wanted to make that point, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Peter.
That one's
anything
just,
else?
sorry, that's
Sorry.
just for noting, Chair, as well, that one.
Yeah, before, I know it's a note in Jane, but in line with recent instructions given, on page 23, it says that there's no IAA required. Any reason for that, Mr. Evans?
I'm not 100% sure on that one, Chair. I've got Craig Griffiths, who's going to respond to that matter.
Thank you, Chair. As it is a report for information purposes and governance, there's no specific decision ultimately which is being taken by members here today. So although obviously the legal obligations apply, there's no requirement on this occasion for that integrated impact screening assessment, because the main decisions in respect of the working arrangement were taken by previous cabinet boards which had that integrated impact assessment attached to it.
Okay.
You're on mute, Chair.
Sorry, recommendation on page 24 then is to note the update that's been provided. So,
I move.
Okay, thank you very much. So go on to the next one, item 8, which is the capital program monitoring report, which is on pages 27 to 34. Again, anything to add from any of the officers?
Chair Howell would like to come in this because there's just a change to the implementation of decision on this report.
Okay, Howell.
Yes, Chair. To enable the item to be considered at Council tomorrow, apologies, the paragraph 17 should have said for immediate implementation, and this was highlighted by the Chair of the Scrutiny Committee for noting in the previous meeting of that Cabinet scrutiny. So that's the only change. Apologies for that.
Okay, thanks, Howell. Okay, so with what Howell have said there's two sort of bullet points there in the recommendations on page 32 to 33. Are we happy for those as they are written out with Howell's amendment? Yeah, okay. All happy with that? Okay, that's fine. Next item is item 9, budget update and monitoring report for 2020-2021, pages 35 to 58. And again, anything to add from officers?
Chair, that just to highlight, the significant amount of work that has been undertaken across councillors, members and officers to try and ensure that we get the right amount of money back from the Welsh Government is reflected in this report, showing that the projected position for the year now is an underspend of 1.19 million. And as mentioned in the report, that will go into general reserves, provided that's the figure at year end when we will be closing the accounts for the 2021 financial year.
Okay, thanks for that, Mr. Jenkins. Any comments from members? I don't see any. Again, just to stick to protocol, there's no IAA year on page 51. Is that relevant?
No, Chair, there's no need for an integrated impact assessment because it's bringing together information in relation to our financial position for the year, and none of the budget monitoring reports would have an IIA to them because they are reported for monitoring and information on the whole of this year. But we need members' approval to the recommendations.
Okay, thank you very much. So the recommendation is on page 53 as they are printed there. Are we all happy with that?
Yeah.
I move, Chair.
Okay, is anything otherwise? Okay, that's fine. Agenda item 10, capital strategy and capital program 2021 to 2022 going through to 23 and 24. Pages 59 to 80. Any comments, Mr. Jenkins?
Just to highlight the fact, Chair, that in terms of paragraph 5, you'll see there that the Welsh Government have confirmed that they're making available £8.9 million for us to invest in capital projects next year in line with the priorities of the Council. In the table at the bottom of page 62, paragraph 8, that is then supplemented by capital receipts and prudential borrowing, meaning that in terms of overall investment, we've got about £12.2 million. But the work of your officers and then members in approving individual projects by going out for match funding and external grant supplements that particular investment from that 12 million to over £80 million for next year. And that's what the capital programme set out in this report highlights. And at the moment, there are further grants that we will be seeking during the next 12 months, which will supplement the capital programmes for 22-23 onwards. So I just wanted to highlight that because a substantial amount of work has been carried out during this period of managing the COVID, as well as trying to progress grant bids and everything else. So there's been a significant amount of investment and work done by officers to progress the capital programme as set out here.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Jenkins. Any comments from members? Again, I don't see any indicated. Recommendation there is on page 70 and 71, but bear in mind that there is actually on page 69 integrated impact assessment. So are we happy to approve those as down in the report? Okay, we're happy with that. Thank you very much. Okay, item 11, revenue budget 2021 to 22. Pages 81 to 156. This was given, obviously, good debate in scrutiny. Mr. Jenkins, anything to add?
No, Chair. As members can see, that the budget at the moment in front of you is proposing a gross investment of £460 million in council services across the county borough. The net budget, once income and specific grants are taken into account, reduces to just over £319 million. And by the proposed use of 3.1 million from reserves, the increase in council tax of 2.75% and the savings of £135,000 as set out in the report and its appendices are what is proposed in this report. You will have heard some members in the Cabinet Scrutiny Committee asking you to consider what level of council tax you commend to council, but I have got no other comments at this point in time in terms of this, but happy to take any questions about the potential use of reserves and others should that be an issue that members wish to raise.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Councillor Peter-Rees.
Just to ask, Chair, I noticed the debate, particularly from the Plaid group, about lowering council tax. I didn't note any figure that they wanted it reduced to. And I just wondered, you know, they didn't, are they looking for a 0% or is there because Alan Llewellyn didn't mention any figure that it was to be reduced to. And I just wondered what your thoughts are on that, Chair. I'm quite happy with the recommendation as it stands.
Mr. Jenkins.
I've had no prior notice of any amendment or value in terms of the council tax level or council tax increase. I understand from Councillor Llewellyn that will come forward tomorrow. So we will have to wait for that in terms of tomorrow. But in terms of for information, if there was no council tax increase set for next year, that would increase the amount that we would be required to take from reserves from the 3.1 to 5.2 million pounds. So that means that basically 25% of your general reserves would be potentially used up in 1 year in order to set the balanced budget for next year. But as I mentioned in the cabinet scrutiny meeting, the issue then becomes one of sustainability and one needing to actually take that into account in finalising the council tax increase and making sure that there are suitable plans in place to actually run the council services at the activity levels that is affordable, both in terms of budget setting and council tax. And that was something that wasn't put forward in the cabinet scrutiny meeting, but it is something that if an alternative proposal comes forward tomorrow, that will need to be considered by council in making its final determinations.
Thanks for that, Mr. Jenkins. Just for clarity on one point, I totally agree with the comments that Peter said, and I think during the debate it was actually suggested that the Plaid group would determine whether they put an amendment in tomorrow based on what Cabinet decide this afternoon, but having been given no alternative, we really can't go with anything else anyway. Is that a fair assumption?
Well, we certainly don't have anything that we can consider.
Okay. All right. Carol, you got your hand up there?
I'll come in at the end, Chair, please, if I can.
Okay, Doreen?
Yeah, it's just I see it on here about the National Pay Awards. We don't know, at the moment, like I said in the other meeting, at the moment they're wanting 10%. We've budgeted so far for 1%, but we don't know what the effect of that is going to have on the budget either, do we?
Yes, Chair. Councillor Jones is right in terms of that. We've got 1% set in the budget. We have got a contingency, which in total for both pay and general prices is about 2.15 million pounds, which could cover part of an additional pay award above the 1%, should that be what is finally agreed. But with a 10% pay award demand, that is basically 14 million pounds is a 10% pay award, and we've built in 1.4. And if all of that was agreed as part of budget setting this year, that would basically reduce our general reserves from the nearly 17 million pounds that they're currently projected by well, substantially to an unacceptable level that the council should not be able to afford going forward. And as mentioned in the previous cabinet scrutiny meeting, putting money back into reserves is a lot harder than it is to take it out. So I think that that's something that the cabinet members need to consider today, and all members at council will need to consider tomorrow.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Jenkins. Alan?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to clarify with my cabinet colleagues and yourself that, in all the debates and all the talks we've had and the presentations Howell's given, that we've not had any other suggestions come through for cuts other than the ones that we've put forward, or the ones that have been put forward. I want to give Councillor Llewellyn a fair crack and that we are considering this. Has there anything else come forward? That's the question.
Jenkins?
I can confirm, Chair, that I've had no proposals on anything from anybody in terms of the budget next year, other than what I've heard in terms of in cabinet scrutiny earlier, which is only a potential proposal to reduce the council tax and take more out of reserves, but no alternative a way of reducing costs or changing activity has come forward from anybody.
Okay, thank you, Howell. That's exactly what I assumed or I thought. In that case, Ted, my decision is made up in that case. If there's no sensible alternative, then the one's been put forward. That's fine. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Carol?
Okay, so as a cabinet, as cabinet member for finance, I've listened to the scrutiny committee, which is what I'm supposed to do along with you guys. And I'd start by saying that we would all agree with the opposition group, really, is we'd love to have no council tax rise, and we'd love to be lower in the table. But we do have a duty to provide a sustainable budget and a sustainable council moving forward. If we didn't do that, we'd be remiss. It would be remiss of us. We would be hauled over the coals then. So I'll touch on. I've scribbled a lot of these answers as they were being given. So if I repeat myself or go over the same thing twice, please forgive me. So Howell has already said 80% of our residents are in band A to C. And I don't think we can actually ignore the fact then, therefore, is that 80% of our residents aren't paying the band D, which is what they're not happy with. The fact that at band D, we are second. It's only 20% then that are paying band D or higher. So this council will then, they're on about comparing the councils as well. It's very difficult to compare. If in another council they've got 80% that can afford to pay the band B, although it's a lower level, they may well be bringing in more money than we are, even though ours is higher than theirs. So we do take into consideration all of our residents, and for our 20% we'd like to bring it down, but we need also to be realistic. Over the last 5 years, we have set our council tax lower. I've done a lot of research. I've looked back over the years. We started off from the figures I could get at highest council tax in 2003 to 4 to 2006 to 7. We were second in 2007-8 and kept it second in 2017-18. Since 2018, bearing in mind this administration were voted in 2017, since 2018 we've been third and we've stayed there. So we are making a genuine effort to close the gap on the others, but our legacy means we started off higher to start with. It was mentioned our businesses are struggling. Yeah, they are. And I agree that we need to support them, but I think we are. Rebecca Evans, the Finance Minister, has stated Wales businesses will be given tax relief for the whole of the year, not just the few months that Westminster are giving councils in England. So they will be supported. We do support them. And I know that our chief officers and our leadership pride ourselves in the support we try to give. I go back to the quote that Howell gave from Rob Whiteman, Chief Executive of SIPFA. Now, SIPFA are the local government finance advisors. He says, and I quote, "It's more a case of saying well done to the many than told you so to the few, but in recent weeks have not put paid forever to the foolishness of raiding reserves to balance day-to-day spending, then nothing will. As SIPFA always advises, once you spend them, they're gone. Local authorities have experienced often massive cuts to their budgets, and councils have been sensible to seek to replenish their reserves where they can. However, at a time when local authorities have experienced devastating cuts to their budgets, they are not being replenished to the extent that is needed. Dipping further into reserves for anything but emergencies leaves councils vulnerable to financial shocks. Well, I don't want to be responsible for leaving this council open to that. I would take advice from Rob Whiteman, CBE, and Howell, our very, very, very experienced director. Although I would love to do what has been asked of us by some members today, I believe that they have a greater knowledge on budgets and how they work. If we were to lower our budget by too much, then the Wales Audit Office would want us to close that gap within the next year. Now, it's all well and good to say use more reserves to balance the budget. But as I said, once they're gone, they're gone. And if we did, we'd need to make other cuts. So to say use them, but not provide what they will cut next year, I don't think is good enough. You can't sit on the fence. If you want to demand a reduction, then please tell us how, because they haven't. Apart from all that, the uncertainty that we are facing with COVID and Brexit leaves us in a position where we need to still be prudent with our reserves, although we are putting in 3.1 million out of our reserves. So where do you draw the line? And unfortunately, we haven't been given a number to consider this afternoon. Since I have been a cabinet member for finance, very often they leave it till last minute and we have no chance to look at it at all. It's not as simple as plucking a figure out of the air and saying yes or no. We've got to work out, does that work for us? And what can we do? So, finally, I'd like to say thank you to Howell and Hugh and the team, all our officers, the way that they have dealt with all the grants that have come out throughout the year from Welsh Government, delivered them to businesses, reworked all the budgets, brought the budget forward, as usual. All this other stuff has been going on top. I commend them all. I commend them all. You've done an amazing job and you make my job an awful lot easier. So thanks, but I suggest we stick with what the proposal that stands today. I move, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Carol. Anybody else want to say anything? I don't see any indications. Okay, so the proposals or recommendations are there on pages 109 through to 110, with the integrated impact assessment on pages 106 to 107. Are we happy to go with the recommendations?
I move.
Okay, I can't see anybody indicating other, so that's fine, that goes through. Thank you very much. Item 12 on the agenda is the Treasury Management for 21-22. They go from pages 157 to 180. Again, Mr. Jenkins, any comments?
In terms of this report, Chair, as you know, Treasury Management is the management of our cash flows to try and ensure that we can deliver both the revenue and capital budgets for the council. It's this part is a more or less a technical report to show how we will manage those activities during the financial year, and we will continue to report back to you how we are performing on borrowing any new monies, investing our surplus cash, and trying to ensure that our activities are properly managed as we progress through 21-22. So that's the overall picture, and I take note of some of the questions that were raised in Cabinet scrutiny, and with your indulgence, and provided you approve this report today, I will take the members through this at Council tomorrow as well.
Okay, thank you for that, Hywel. Anybody got any comments to make on that one? I don't see any. Okay, so the recommendation is on page 175 with a note on 174 saying that there's no need for a IAA. Are we all happy with this? Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Item 13, urgent items. I don't believe I have any, Karen.
No urgent items, Chair.
Oh, thank you, Jane. Okay, Mr. Jenkins, and I know Hugh is on here as well. Can I just echo the thoughts of everybody for thanking you for the tremendous amount of work that's gone on to produce these reports. Really, really well done, and got to go through it all again tomorrow, I'm afraid. But something to look forward to. But no, seriously, thank you all, and thank every one of the team, Hywel, if you would please, on behalf of everybody. Okay, so thank you all for attending. I have no other items, so I'll declare this Cabinet meeting now closed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye. Bye.
Thank you all. Bye.
Ted, if you're staying behind, can you just speak to some... Oh, he's gone. Never mind.